are in the segment for maintain and handle knives, personal protective equipment, and mise en place. In this segment, we're going to take a look at the knives that you will be handling throughout all of your food preparations. During this segment, we'll be looking at our straight blades. So we'll be looking at the chef knife, and we'll be looking at the paring knife. We will also be looking at our serrated edge blade, which is also known as your bread knife. And then we have our poultry shears, which you would also call scissors, which is okay, but our poultry shears. When we are cooking, doing our preparations, whether it be peeling, dicing, slicing, cutting, we must always have these knives at hand. These are our friends. These are our buddies. We have a number of other different knives for various preparations, but we're going to stick to the basic knives that we use all the time. Now, students, let's speak a little bit in terms of mise en place, M-I-S-E-N-P-L-A-C-E. A very fancy word indeed, yes? But it's just a French term used to mean everything in place. So if you look at my station, I have all the equipment that I will be using, including my cutting board. This is the green cutting board because my first preparation that I will move on to are my vegetables. And in following the WHO, the World Health Organization protocols as it relates to color-coded boards, we will be using the green cutting board for any vegetable preparations. As we go along in our segments, you will see me using other color-coded boards for other preparations. In my mise en place station, I also have a cloth. This cloth must always be at hand. This is the cloth you will use to keep the station clean. We always work in cleanliness. Cleanliness is extremely important in the work that we do to keep away the microbacteria, to maintain a clean surface, and to prepare lovely, safe food to eat. So I have in my mise en place a bowl, an empty bowl. It's empty for now, but it will not be empty for long. This bowl is specifically for my garbage. That is all items that I use during my food preparation that is to be discarded in the garbage. So we want to be efficient. Mise en place is to allow efficiency. We can't be tripsing back and forth. My garbage can is all the way to the other side of the room. I can't be tripsing back and forth, especially with other people in the room. So you would collect your garbage as much as possible in one bowl, and at the end of your preparation period, you discard your garbage. So this is for garbage. When you see me going along this process, you're going to see me with another bowl that I'm going to be using for trimmings. These are for any extra food or items that I will use again in food preparation. Okay? So next thing in our mise en place on this station is this bit of tissue. A bit of tissue. Well, my. Why would I want a piece of tissue? Well, this tissue is to be used to secure my board. I'm going to dampen this tissue, and this tissue, which it already is dampened, and this tissue will be placed under the cutting board. The size of the tissue will depend on the size of your cutting board. You place your cutting board, and it allows the board to be stable. So here we speak to safety as well. Safety in regards to not having a slippery surface, so that when I start to use my board, I am safe, because we are dealing with fairly dangerous tools. Let's speak to personal protective equipment, otherwise known as P.P.E. You can see I am in full uniform. Your uniform is your protective equipment. This is to protect you as well as to ensure that you maintain a safe environment for the preparation of your food. So your hair must be completely covered. No hair is exposed. If you do have long hair, you will be required to wear a hairnet, but all hair must be covered. So I have on my lovely hat here, as well as my hat is a special hat if I show you, because now we are in times of COVID, in a pandemic. It allows for me to attach my mask safely onto my hat and onto my face, okay? I have an apron. This apron is to protect my front body. It is to collect any debris or any dirt, anything that may occur during your preparation process. Yes, it will collect on your apron, because this apron can be removed, washed, and then you can put on a clean apron. But I have on a jacket, so why do I have to have on an apron? Well, this jacket is additional protection. If you look at the jacket protects where the apron is not covered. This jacket I have on is a chef jacket. In your schools, you will be required to wear your assigned uniform, but your uniform must be clean and appropriately in place. But you too will have to wear your apron. In the safety of putting on your PPEs, I have a long sleeve. So I have my sleeve just slightly turned up, but it still maintains long to protect my arms. You will see my apron is tied securely around my waist, and I do not have any excess of the apron hanging like this. That is to protect you as well. We do not want this here to be dragging along any fires that you may come close to when you go to your range. In my PPEs, I also have on my bottom, which is a long pants. You will be wearing your school uniform. You will be required to wear proper shoes as well. That's an important part of your PPE. Shoes that are totally covering your feet and have a well in place sole that has a good grip to prevent slipping. As part of your attire as well is the jewelry. In this industry, you are not allowed to wear any jewelry. You will say I have no earrings. You will say I have no rings, and I'm married, and no rings. No nose rings, no other piercings along the face, no chains. Why? It is important that we do not wear these jewelry because jewelry can drop out, fall into food, and the last thing we want, because we are customers as well, is to be eating our lovely, delicious cuckoo and to find an earring in it. So we do not want any items that can become physical hazards in your food. As well as we want to be protective to you when it comes to chains. Chains actually conduct heat. When you're dealing a lot with ovens and above heats, the chain can conduct that heat and it actually can burn the neck. Believe me, I know, all right? So we want to avoid any type of chains or any other type of jewelry around the neck, as well as on the arms. No watches, no bracelets, nothing. So you will see that I have no type of jewelry on me whatsoever. An important aspect of your PPE. So I have covered with you our mise en place in terms of everything in its place. I have covered with you your PPE, and I have briefly spoken to you in regard to the type of knives that you will be using. So let's go to the maintenance of these knives, the maintenance of our equipment. And remember, your equipment is your best friend. You want to keep your equipment in good condition so that you can execute your tasks efficiently. So let's deal with how we maintain our knife. Maintain our knives is really in regard to maintaining the sharpness of our knife. A sharp knife is safer than a dull knife. You are able to apply your knife to all of your preparations to attain nice even cuts and allow the knife to move through what you are cutting with ease, versus a dull knife that can place a lot of resistance, as well it can cause a lot of tension to the wrist. So how do we maintain the edge of the knife? When we speak about the edge, we're speaking about the blade of the knife, from the heel to the tip. We use 3 tools really in the industry, but I'm going to speak to 2 tools that you in the schools will be dealing with. We have the steel. This tool is used for honing your knife. When we speak of honing, we're simply meaning that we want to maintain the sharp edge that already exists on the knife. So my knives, this is our chef knife, already has a sharp edge, but before every preparation, I want to make sure that it's at its maximum, at its peak performance. So I'm going to hone my knife. The other tool that we use when it comes to maintaining the edge on your knife is a grinder. This is a small grinder, We can have grinders that come to even sizes for industrial. And when I say industrial, we're talking about outside of food preparation, mechanical work, etc. But we can go even higher in terms of grinders. Now, grinders are there to sharpen your knives. So if you have a knife, which I do have here, over time, it can lose its edge. It's not as sharp as it needs to be. And using the steel is not going to allow me to attain the sharpness that I want to get. So this is where you bring in your grinder. The grinder has in stones, it's electrical, and these stones will move so that it will sharpen the edge of your knife. And I will demonstrate that for you. But before we go to that, we're going to hone our knife. So to hone our knife, we're going to use the steel, but we're not going to use the steel over our cutting board. This cutting board is for food preparation. When I sharpen my knives, as you can tell, these are made with a metal, and metal will indeed start to remove from the knife as I start to sharpen, and that will then contaminate my working surface area. So we will move away from the board. I'm taking my cloth with me, and we will hone our knives away from the board. How do we do it? I'm going to show you two methods. First method, secure your steel over on top of a nice piece of towel. You can dampen the towel as well for security so it doesn't slide on your surface. You want to have your knife at a 45-degree angle onto your steel. And you always start from the heel and we're going to the tip, 45 degrees. So this is holding down, and I'm going to go down and again from heel to tip. So back and front. So the knife has a front, the knife has a back. So we need to attain our blade, our edge from front and back. So we would count and always heel to tip, okay? Not tip to heel, always heel to tip, 45 degree. So I'm going to count 5 on one side, 5 on the other. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5 on each side. All right, you must have it even. Another method of using the steel, which is the usual method we chefs would use, is where we would hold the handle, we have the guard above the hand, and then we have the steel. Your knife is held at the same 45-degree angle. Now, I know that as students, you are intimidated by the chef knife. He'll become your friend, don't worry. That's why I showed you the first technique. But as you become comfortable, and when you enter the industry, I'm looking for you to upgrade to this technique. So once again, 45-degree angle from heel to tip, and we are going to sharpen our knife. 45 degrees. So that was 2. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now you can see how important it is that your hand remains on the handle underneath the guard. Because I can be doing this, not paying attention, and it can fall, but it would hit the guard. That's why it is made specifically to protect the handle, and it's up to you to use the steel correctly for your protection. So there I have honed my knife, and my knife is very ready to start chopping, dicing, and slicing. We are now going to move to the use of the grinder. So the grinder, very simple grinder, one that I'm sure if you are in the schools you have one, it will be one of these you'll be using. You see 3 slots, 1, 2, and 3. Between here is a stone. When we turn on the electricity, these stones are going to be churning. One stone is for one side of your knife, the other stone is for the other side of the knife. The same type of technique as when we're honing the knife. This piece here is simply to wipe the blade. It has a rubber piece in here. It helps to wipe the blade to remove the excess metal that's going to release when we're sharpening the knife. Of course, students, when you complete honing or sharpening your knives, you must wash your knives. So my knife will be washed when I'm ready to use the knife. So you would have your grinder. I am right-handed, so I have my 2 stones, and I have the area where that cleans the blade. So as I said, there's 2 stones for each side of your blade. So safety first, you plug in, then you turn on. It is running, we are secure, now we will sharpen. So from heel to tip. And you take your time. That's one side. The next side. Now, how often do you do this? It depends on how dull the knife is. So for this knife, I am going to do this 5 times. So I've done it once already, 1 on each side, 5 times. And then you will take a food item and you will slice it to establish how sharp your knife is or is not. So let's just do it a few more times so that you can see exactly how to use your grinder. So this is number 2. Two. 3. 4. 5. Then we take this, we run it in here, and that's your knife sharpened. Okay, so let's switch this off. So students, I just want to make it very clear to you. You need to understand the tool that you're working with. If you see it's angled because the knife has to run against the moving stone. So if you find you're putting it in and you're not hearing it touching the stone, giving you that grinding sound, just manipulate the knife so that it's at the angle to be touching the stone. So there we have our sharpened knife with our grinder, and we have our honed knife that has been, the edge has been honed using our steel. In regard to your dress and your requirements in terms of food preparation, there are additional responsibilities you have to abide by. There's no nail polish. Your fingernails need to be kept short. So all the beautiful long fingernails, whether they're your natural fingernails, have to be cut. And then of course, we do not allow acrylics or any other nail applications that can come off the nail and go into the food. So whether those nails are at neutral color, they are still not allowed. No nail polish and no fingernails. You also are required to have very minimum face adornment. When I speak of face adornment, I am talking about makeup. So as you can tell in the kitchen, it's not a fashion show. Well, it is a fashion show in the sense that your attire should be pressed and clean and look professional. That is the fashion show. But it's not a fashion show in terms of all the beautiful earrings and the fancy lipstick and the additional eyelashes and all the fancy eyebrows. No, 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 no. In this fashion show, you will not win. You will indeed lose. The winners are the ones that abide to the health and safety regulations as it relates to food preparation.